All right, this is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Penimich. It's late in the season, but we've got a new tropical storm Richard. And the reason I wanted to do a quick weather brief on this today is because this could have a pretty significant impact on us, and not necessarily in a negative way. This is a look at the current forecast track from the National Hurricane Center. You can see by Tuesday, 8 a.m., it has it entering the Gulf of Mexico. And by this time, you can see it's going to be about a 40 mile an hour tropical storm. On Monday, it'll be a 50 mile an hour tropical storm. Sunday, they expect it to be a hurricane, so it's definitely weakening as it moves over the Yucatan Peninsula. But why am I somewhat intrigued by this? As I look at the spaghetti models for the track, you could see what's going on here. Initially, the models, there's a million little dots here. That's because the model is basically has no idea what's going on, and that's essentially the model's telling you very weak steering current. So this is a big monkey wrench on eventually where this is going to go. But you can see the trend is to bring it north. Now it could be as far east as Cuba, as far west as the Bay of Campeche. Somewhere down the middle, it brings it up towards the Florida Panhandle into the southeast. Why is this important? Well, I'm going to tell you why this is important, because this actually is not necessarily a bad thing in this situation, because look at what's going on with the drought here in the southeast. You've got a lot of areas of severe to extreme drought. And in the Carolinas, for us in particular, we've got the whole western part of North Carolina and most of the upstate of South Carolina under moderate drought conditions. So this is a case where not necessarily a bad thing that we're going to see possibly some moisture getting evected up here, because here's what's going to happen. This is the GFS model, and right now we're looking out to the 25th. You see this moisture getting pulled north. Now the GFS doesn't have a really good handle on what's going to happen here either, but one thing we know is we're going to get a big trough here across the middle of the country, high pressure off the east coast. That's going to pull up a lot of Gulf moisture next week, which is going to bring in possibly some heavy rain. Now right now, as you look at the water vapor loop, it's bone dry here in the Gulf of Mexico. That may be a big deterrent to the storm getting stronger. And really, I don't think it's going to be a big deal, because the farther north this system gets, it's going to run into a lot of wind shear as this upper low pulls in to the middle of the country. So as we take a look at the GFS model, this is the 4 panel. You're looking at Monday night here. Big low pressure. Looks like it arcs down here over the middle of the country, then goes up into the Midwest. You see the jet stream barreling in here. Look at all the moisture that gets pulled up in the eastern half of the country. Now, this could be a pretty significant severe weather outbreak as well, depending on how things unfold, because as I go forward here, we're going to look again. This is Monday morning. This is Monday night. And you can see we got pretty good diffluent flow up here. We got a big jet streak entering the Dixie Alley area. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. The severe weather we don't want, definitely, but we could see some substantial rain move into parts of the southeast, which again is an area that's inundated with drought, not necessarily a bad thing. So again, it's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens as this big upper low moves into the middle of the country. A big trough digs in, and this tropical moisture gets pulled up. Now, right now, the 5-day precipitation totals aren't overly impressive, but you're starting to see some rain move into the eastern half of the country from the Mississippi River Valley east. One thing we know for sure, that whatever happens here, we're going to see some moisture get pulled up. Now, what you're looking at here is the hurricane wharf. I wanted to show you quickly where it brings a storm across Florida. We'll go back and look at the GFDL, and kind of a similar pattern here, moving it up into the Gulf of Mexico, a little farther west, and then recurving it through Florida. It's probably some kind of subtropical hybrid system, because when you get this big trough and a high off the east and some cold air involved here, you're probably going to have some kind of subtropical system. Either way, it's going to bring wind and rain to Florida. So we'll keep an eye on this. It's going to be pretty interesting here over the next couple of days to see what happens, because we've had just abnormally dry conditions here in the southeast. And at this point, I'd hate to see a hurricane or tropical storm move north, but this is the kind of setup we actually need. And if you live in the southeast, you know tropical systems aren't always a negative thing. About 30% of the annual rainfall along the Gulf Coast and the southeast coast come from tropical systems, either directly or indirectly. So this is a case where right now we actually want to see some of the rain. We'll keep you up to date if we get any more changes. In the meantime, it's just going to be dry and beautiful conditions, cool in the morning, warm in the afternoon.